Yeah,
exactly. And everyone was saying back then, if you want to make money, then go to Munich, then go to Hamburg or to the south, because there you will get good salaries. But then I think after 2014, 15, 16, things started to change, especially in the tech industry, where you will start seeing good salaries for developers, software architects, product managers. And then you saw, okay, are the same salaries as in the south, but you still have some of the convenient stuff from Berlin, which were still affordable rents, like in 2015, 16, and so on.
Yeah. And I think this shift was very, very obvious, right? And you can see by the data, also official data, because I got a lot of, on internet, a lot of angry people looking at these results, say it's not true, it's impossible, because some people still are thinking in 2012, 2013, 2014 terms when they started, for example, with a job, right? So it really depends when you came to Berlin and how well you negotiated. But for sure, there's very, very many very good, very well paid jobs here. I mean, and it's on par. I don't have comparable data. Of course, like the big companies in the south, they will also pay very good money. Maybe 5 couple of percent more.
I was reading the report, and then I found out also very interesting numbers. For example, like the best paying jobs in Berlin is as a solution architect, right? And I think it was like over 100K. Like I think the average was 111K per year, which is a very good salary.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean this is top. I mean you're in European terms, it's a very good salary, right?
Yeah.
And we also had, I mean, closely followed by others, right? It's not like the next salary is then 80, right? So you could get an extremely good salary in Berlin.
Yeah. You have a site reliability engineer with 100K, and the average software engineer, it's around 80K.
Yeah, and also there is a difference, right? You need to consider that, for example, we only had 10 solution architects, right? So if you would now introduce more, so I think for example, product managers, we had like 110 of them, I think, right? So for certain roles, we had much better representation than for others. So when the viewers will check the data, right, you always need to keep into consideration how many people I had. So, but it is true that last year the result was identical, right? Last year also solution architects were the best paid. Yeah.
But you will get also at the same time less, for example, solution architects in the survey, because I think it's like this sort of pyramid of positions.
Yes,
like solution architect, you might have just only 1 or 2 in a company.
Yeah.
Rather, product managers, you might have many
10.
of them.
Of course. Yeah. Too many, right?
Managers. Yeah. And then also the ones in the lowest part, I saw that were like people working in content, copywriters, and marketing, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is also, I mean, we had big differences, right? So I think they were like around 50K, right? So you can see that inside, I mean, the whole skilled landscape, you have massive differences. And then you just need to see, like, also now with AI, right? Copywriting, it is obviously the one that is the fastest gonna get.
And what about the startups? Did you see any there?
Yeah, I was so surprised that it was identical, right? So we had like maybe split was half. We asked, is your company identifying as a startup, right? So of course there was in definition. Of course I had someone complaining about the definition, right? But I mean it was quite good, right? So we had not gonna say 50-50, but close. Startups, non-startups, and the median was the same, 75,000. But the main difference was that the compensation satisfaction, which was also one of the 1 to 5, right, was lower in startups.
Okay.
A bit, right? The pay was the same, but the satisfaction was lower. And then when I was writing the report, I thought, okay, this must be because possibly in startups you just need to work more for this money, right?
Good.
The longer hours.
I would have expected the opposite, to be honest, because I work in some startups. The life was good. So at least the work environment
but the salary
was very nice. Yeah, the salary could be better.
In this case, yeah, it's interesting that the people earning the same stuff, they had a different perception.
Yeah.
But it could be that the level
Yeah.
of pressure,
but it's-
maybe.
Yeah,
different,
yeah,
they-
and also maybe now there was a bit of dip in startup.
Also, yeah.
Maybe there was a lot of more unsatisfied. I mean, it's very hard to say, right? So we will see the next year when we do it, when we have some more each year more data points. So it's very hard to interpret just on one data point.
Yeah, but also you have to keep in mind that like now the amount of startups is reducing. So that means that many people is afraid of that their position or that the whole startup will be finished.
Yeah.
And they collapse. So they feel maybe that they need to work more, but they are not achieving the goals that they are supposed to achieve. And yeah, maybe the satisfaction